For most people in Hollywood, success comes slowly. One big role every few years is considered lucky. But for Zendaya, 2026 is shaping up to be something completely different. With massive projects like Spider-Man, Brand New Day, Euphoria Season 3, Dune, Part 3, and several other blockbuster productions all connected to her name, Zendaya is no longer just a former Disney star. She has quietly become one of the most powerful and respected actresses in Hollywood. But what makes her story different is that none of this happened overnight. Behind the red carpets, awards, and fashion headlines is a girl who spent years working, non-stop, doubting herself, and trying to figure out who she really was outside of fame. Zendaya once admitted that she has always been extremely focused on her future. Even when she was younger, she constantly thought about what was next in life, what goals she wanted to achieve, and how she could build a career that would last. While many child stars were simply enjoying the spotlight, she was already planning for longevity. That mindset would eventually separate her from almost everyone else in the industry. Long before Hollywood saw her as an award-winning actress, she was just a shy kid growing up with big dreams. Even today, people close to her still describe her as naturally quiet and reserved. Confidence didn't come easily to her. In fact, acting became the thing that slowly helped her break out of her shell. Her journey started small. She began doing print work, little commercials, and modeling jobs as a child. But even at a young age, she believed she was meant for something bigger. She wasn't pushed into the industry by anyone else. According to Zendaya herself, the dream was completely hers from the beginning. She and her father would travel constantly between Oakland and Los Angeles for auditions. Sometimes they made the exhausting trip 3 or 4 times a week, never knowing if any opportunity would actually work out. It wasn't glamorous. It was tiring, stressful, and uncertain. But within months of all that sacrifice, everything changed. Zendaya landed her breakout role on Disney Channel, and suddenly her life became completely different. Almost overnight, she went from being a regular teenager to starring in one of the network's biggest shows. Even then, she tried to stay grounded. She often said she still felt like a normal kid living an abnormal life. While millions of viewers were watching her on television every week, she was still balancing rehearsals, schoolwork, interviews, and long production days. Her schedule became nonstop. Dance rehearsals in the morning, school during the day, filming. Afterward, the cycle repeated constantly. But unlike many young stars who struggle with the pressure, Zendaya genuinely loved working. She embraced the grind because she understood that opportunities like this didn't come often. At the same time, her family made sure she stayed focused and independent. Her parents encouraged her to make her own decisions and understand the reality of the entertainment industry. That support system became one of the biggest reasons she survived Hollywood while so many child stars fell apart. As her Disney fame grew, so did the expectations around her. Suddenly, she wasn't just a TV actress anymore. She became a fashion icon, a role model, and one of the most recognizable young faces in entertainment. But with that attention came pressure. People constantly watched her every move. Interviews, social media, appearances, everything became public. Yet somehow, Zendaya managed to avoid many of the scandals and chaos that often follow young celebrities. When asked how she stayed balanced, her answer was surprisingly simple. She said the most important thing was focusing on yourself and surrounding yourself with positive people. She believed passion was also essential because success in entertainment comes with difficult moments, criticism, rejection, and exhaustion. Without real love for the work, surviving becomes almost impossible. That mentality helped her evolve beyond Disney. Instead of staying trapped in the image of a teenage television star, Zendaya slowly started taking creative control of her own career. One major turning point came with Casey Undercover. Unlike earlier projects, this show allowed her to have a voice behind the scenes as a producer. For the first time, she wasn't just acting in someone else's vision. She was helping shape the story herself. That experience gave her confidence. It showed her that she could be more than an actress. She could influence projects creatively and build a career on her own terms. At the same time, she became increasingly aware of the darker side of fame, especially for child actors. Zendaya openly admitted that she has a complicated relationship with the idea of child stardom because she has seen how damaging it can become. She understood early on that fame can easily consume a person's identity. That fear followed her as she got older. While audiences still saw her as the funny Disney teenager they grew up watching, Zendaya herself was changing. She was becoming more serious about acting and more interested in emotionally challenging roles. But transitioning from child star to respected actress is one of the hardest things anyone in Hollywood can do. Many actors fail completely during that stage. Zendaya knew that if she wanted to be taken seriously, she would have to start over from the bottom. So when the opportunity to audition for Spider-Man: Homecoming arrived, she approached it like any struggling actor would. She auditioned repeatedly, worked through the nerves, and fought hard for the role. Even though audiences now associate her naturally with Marvel, she has admitted that she was extremely nervous during the process. At the time, it was her first, truly massive movie opportunity, and she desperately wanted it. Eventually, she was cast as Michelle Jones, a character audiences would later connect to the legacy of Mary Jane Watson. What made the role important to Zendaya was that Michelle wasn't written as a typical love interest. She was sarcastic, intelligent, awkward, and independent. Zendaya appreciated that the character existed beyond romance. The role also introduced her to a global audience on a completely different level. Suddenly, she wasn't just a former Disney actress anymore. She was now part of the Marvel Universe, one of the biggest film franchises in history. And ironically, Spider-Man had always been one of her favorite superheroes growing up. She once explained that Spider-Man felt relatable because he wasn't rich or perfect. He was just a normal kid dealing with real-life problems, responsibilities, and insecurities. That realism connected deeply with her. As her career exploded internationally, Zendaya continued pushing herself creatively. But behind all the success, something else was happening. For years, she had been working non-stop without ever really stopping to ask herself one important question. Who is Zendaya when she isn't working? That question would become even more important during the next chapter of her life. After years of being known as the talented Disney star and Marvel actress, Zendaya reached a point in her career where she wanted something deeper. She no longer wanted to simply entertain audiences. She wanted to challenge herself emotionally. That opportunity came through Euphoria. The role of Rue completely changed the way Hollywood viewed Zendaya. For the first time, audiences saw her playing someone emotionally broken, vulnerable, and deeply complicated. Rue was struggling with addiction, anxiety, pain, and identity, themes far darker than anything Zendaya had done before, and the role affected her personally. Zendaya admitted that playing Rue was emotionally exhausting because she cared so much about the character. She met many people who related to Rue's struggles, and that emotional connection made the responsibility even heavier. She explained that a lot of the pain, stress, and anxiety she carried in her own life was poured directly into the performance. Instead of hiding those emotions, she allowed the character to express them for her. That honesty is what made audiences connect so strongly with the role. It also proved something important. Zendaya was no longer just a celebrity. She was a serious actress. Behind the scenes, however, she was still battling intense self-criticism. She has openly described herself as extremely hard on herself and constantly overthinking everything she does. Ironically, acting became one of the only places where she felt free from judgment. On set, she could escape herself for a while by becoming someone else. But as her success grew larger and larger, another realization hit her. She had spent almost her entire life working. Since childhood, her identity had been tied to acting, filming, interviews, rehearsals, and promotions. And eventually, she began wondering whether she even knew who she was outside of her career. She started asking herself difficult questions. What are my hobbies? What do I enjoy doing when I'm not acting? Who am I when cameras are gone? For someone who had spent years constantly chasing the next achievement, those questions were uncomfortable.